Fortune's Progeny, The Ascent. Episode 13, The Highlands. The hired car arrived at the shared house at 6 a.m. on a Saturday, a sleek black sedan that looked utterly out of place among the bicycles and beat-up sedans lining the street. Trent packed light, a single overnight bag, a notebook, and the photograph of Alistair's workshop he kept on his phone. He told his housemates he was visiting family for the weekend. It was not entirely a lie. The drive to the Highlands took 3 hours, winding through increasingly rural roads, past small towns and farmland, eventually climbing into a range of ancient forested mountains. The air changed as they ascended, cooler, cleaner, carrying the scent of pine and damp earth. Trent watched the landscape transform, feeling the weight of the city lift with each mile. The estate appeared suddenly, a break in the dense forest, revealing a long gravel drive lined with old oaks. The house was not a mansion in the gilded sense. It was a vast, weathered lodge of native stone and dark timber, built low and wide against the mountain slope. It looked less like a display of wealth and more like an extension of the landscape itself, something that had grown there over generations, shaped by wind and weather and the quiet passage of time. The car stopped before a massive wooden door, its iron hardware black with age. Before Trent could knock, the door swung open. The man standing there was in his 70s, with hands like gnarled roots and eyes the clear, sharp blue of a mountain stream. He wore a simple flannel shirt and canvas trousers, and he regarded Trent not with deference, but with a quiet, assessing steadiness.
"Mr. Ashford, I'm Olden. I've been expecting you,"
he said, his voice a low, gravelly rasp that had been roughened by decades of mountain air. Alden gave him a tour that lasted 3 hours and covered only half the property. He moved with a slow, deliberate economy, the gait of a man who had walked these halls for 30 years and knew exactly how to conserve his energy.
"This is the great room,"
Alden said, gesturing to a vast 2-story space with a fireplace large enough to stand in. The walls were paneled in dark wood, hung with portraits of ancestors Trent vaguely recognized from old family albums. The furniture was heavy, solid, built to last generations.
"The board uses it for retreats, twice a year usually. They sit around that table and talk about the future of the empire. Then they leave. The room goes quiet again."
While he pointed to a massive, scarred oak conference table.
"And the rest of the year?"
Trent asked. Alden shrugged, a small, economical movement.
"It sits. I keep it clean. The heating runs. The roof doesn't leak. The ghosts are quiet."
He led Trent through the library, a 2-story room lined with leather-bound volumes and first editions, the air thick with the smell of old paper and beeswax. He showed him the kitchen, a cavernous space with a massive stone hearth and modern appliances tucked discreetly into custom cabinetry. He showed him the bedrooms, each named for a different tree: oak, maple, birch, ash, their windows framing views of the surrounding forest. Finally, he led Trent outside, to the back terrace, where the mountain fell away in a series of stone steps and carefully tended gardens, ending in a small, spring-fed lake glittering in the afternoon light.
"It's beautiful."
Alden agreed.
"Beautiful and expensive. The geothermal system was state-of-the-art in 1985. Now it's a temperamental old woman. The roof needs section-by-section replacement. The gardens require full-time attention in the growing season. And the lake?"
He paused, a rare flicker of emotion crossing his weathered face.
"The lake needs nothing. It just is."
Over a simple lunch, bread and cheese and pickled vegetables, served in the kitchen at a worn wooden table, Trent asked the question that had been forming since he arrived.
"Why do you stay, Mr. Alden? You could retire anywhere. Why here?"
Alden chewed slowly, considering. He said finally,
"Because it's a home, not a museum, not a corporate retreat, a home. The board uses it twice a year. The family used to use it for summers, for holidays, for weddings and birthdays. That's faded, but the house remembers. And as long as someone stays, it keeps remembering. Your grandmother sent you here to figure out how to make this place not cost so much. But the cost is the point. A house like this doesn't stop costing. It just stops being a home if you stop paying.
Trent sat with that for a long moment. The other contenders, he knew, would see a property management puzzle. They would propose efficiency studies, usage fees, partnerships with luxury brands to host exclusive events. They would see a money pit and recommend filling it. But Alden was right. The cost was not the problem. The problem was the purpose. The Highlands was a home without a family, a vessel without a cargo. The question was not how to reduce its expenses, but how to give it a reason to exist that justified them. That night, after Alden had retired to his cottage, Trent walked the grounds alone. The moon was nearly full, casting silver light over the lake, the gardens, the dark shape of the lodge. He could feel the weight of the place, not oppressive, but watchful. It had been built to hold people, to shelter conversations and celebrations and quiet griefs. Now it held only silence and a single devoted caretaker. He thought of Alistair's covenant, custodians of time. The Highlands was a custodian of a different kind of time, not the hours of a craftsman's labor, but the decades of a family's memory. You couldn't put a price on that, but you also couldn't let it bankrupt you. He took out his notebook and wrote, by the light of his phone, a single sentence. The Highlands is not an asset, it is an anchor. The question is not what it costs, but what it holds in place. He would need to find an answer that honored both the ledger and the legacy. The other contenders would see a spreadsheet. He was beginning to see a story. The drive back the next morning was quiet. Alden saw him off with a handshake and a single cryptic comment.
Your great-grandfather used to sit on that terrace and watch the lake for hours. He never said what he was thinking, but he always seemed settled. When he left, he took the settling with him. The house has been waiting for someone to bring it back.
Trent nodded, not trusting his voice. The car pulled away, and the Highlands receded into the trees, a question he was still learning how to ask.